Good evening and welcome to Midnight Movie Club and the first episode of a brand new series here on the channel where I will be exploring the Riddick Universe. In tonight's video we will be taking a look at the Underverse and the Threshold. So let's kick things off with the Underverse. The Underverse is a constellation of dark new stars. To the Necromonger Empire, it is believed to be their promised land, with only the Lord Marshals of the Necromonger Empire being known to have journeyed to it. As the Purifier tells us, in this verse, life is antagonistic to the natural state. Here, humans in all their various races are a spontaneous outbreak, an unguided mistake. The Necromonger purpose is to correct that mistake, because there is another verse. A verse where life is welcome cherished, a ravishing ever new place called the Underverse, but the road to that verse crosses over the threshold. The Necromonger belief is that they must purge the universe so that all can be reborn in the Underverse. As the Purifier also tells us, it is this verse that must be cleansed of life so that the Underverse can populate and prosper. It is also believed by the Necromongers, even though they covet death, there is a right and proper moment for any death. Unless a Necromonger dies in due time, they will be prohibited from entering the Underverse. This is what Altvum, the second Lord Marshal, told others before his ritualistic suicide at the edge of the threshold. So if the road to the Underverse is the threshold, then what is the threshold? The threshold is a gateway to the Underverse. It is what every Lord Marshal of the Necromonger Empire has to cross in order to gain the title of Lord Marshal. The Threshold was first discovered by Kovu, the first Lord Marshal who travelled through strange uncharted corners of space with the corpses of his dead wife and children. Kovu was the first one that dared to enter the Threshold and did. After he crossed over, he returned only minutes later, but he seemed to be older and stronger. He then claimed that his family were no longer dead and that they had risen and walked again in the verse on the other side of the threshold, a glorious place he called the Underverse. Kovu eventually returned to the threshold, this time with his successor, Altvum. Altvum described the threshold as surrounded by great tidal forces of space, treacherous to navigate near but exotically beautiful, hinting at the dark wonders that lurked beyond. They spent days waiting for the tidal forces to calm, and only then the threshold opened. On their long journey to the threshold, some of their company began to wonder if Kovu had ever seen the threshold at all, and they started to doubt his word. But when the threshold finally opened for them, Kovu ordered all Necromongers except Altvum to turn their backs as their approach was made. This would go on to establish how Necromonger vessels would near the open threshold, as no living Necromonger may cast their eyes upon the Underverse, except a Lord Marshal. Altvum was intent on never losing his way to the threshold again. He erected hidden navigational markers that would lead him back. Never again would anyone doubt its existence. Once the way was charted, he then initiated the construction of a portal around the threshold, its forces that could resist the tidal vortexes of space and open the threshold on demand. A trusted officer was tasked with guarding the threshold against any marauding races. No name was recorded of this officer, only that they were to be referred to as the Guardian of the Underverse. They are said to be nearly 3 meters tall, and that their legion of faithful would repel any non-Necromonger who may make an unauthorized approach to their most holy of places. And as always with Necromonger beliefs, whenever the threshold is open to admit a Lord Marshal in pilgrimage, the Guardian and his warriors must turn their backs as to not gaze upon the Underverse. So, that concludes my exploration of the Underverse and the threshold that leads to it within the Riddick Universe. Please, if you enjoyed this video and want more of this series, then let me know in the comments down below. Also, is the Underverse something you would like to see in another Riddick film? I know we got to see the Threshold and mention of the Underverse more in Riddick, but would you like to see a film set on the other side? Riddick 4 looks like it's going to be set on Furya by the title, but I'd love a movie in or about the Underverse. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you haven't already, then subscribe to join the club. As always, thank you very much for watching, and good night.